It's the 6th episode of the Smashing Wallace and Gromit discussions, and in this episode, I talk about Shaun the Sheep from A Close Shave. I talk about his appearances with Wallace and Gromit, how he got his own TV series and his feature-length film, and I also talk about whether he did deserve his own franchise. So let's get started. After making The Wrong Trousers, Nick Park really wanted to make another Wallace and Gromit film. So he teamed up with Bob Baker to work on the script for the new film, which would become A Close Shave. There was one thing that Nick Park was definitely certain on what the film was going to be about. He wanted the film to be about sheep. As the story started to progress, Nick and Bob came up with a character, which was a sheep who escapes from Preston and Wendeleen's lorry and ends up at the residence of 62 West Wallaby Street, which is where Wallace and Gromit live. After coming back from cleaning Wendeleen's windows, Wallace and Gromit come back to find the sheep, who has made a mess of their house and is also gnawing on a bone. But instead of getting angry, Wallace decides to clean the sheep by using one of his inventions, the Knit-O-Matic. He uses it to clean the sheep, but then the invention starts to go wrong and sucks the poor little sheep up a tube and puts him into the shearing section where it starts to shear his wool. The sheep then comes out of the machine all shorn, which led to his name called Shaun the Sheep. Shaun the Sheep may have a big appetite, but he proved to be quite the hero when at the end of the film he saves Wallace, Gromit, Wendeleen and the rest of the flock from the villainous cyberdog Preston by pushing him into the jaws of his Knit-O-Matic machine. After his appearance in A Close Shave, Shaun the Sheep appeared in many of Wallace and Gromit's adventures. He appeared in one of the episodes in Cracking Contraptions, which is called Shopper 13. After the Shopper 13 comes back to deliver a big chunk of Edam cheese, it breaks its wheel and drops the cheese. Therefore, Wallace and Gromit send the probe, which is Shaun the Sheep, to deliver the cheese back to their house. But instead of delivering the cheese, Shaun eats the cheese for himself. Not only that, Shaun also appeared in some of the adverts with Wallace and Gromit. One of the adverts that he featured in was the Glico pudding adverts. The premises of each of the adverts was whenever Shaun heard Wallace and Gromit opening the pudding from a far distance, Shaun would quickly get to where Wallace and Gromit are and he would eat the pudding just in the nick of time. He has also appeared in 2 Wallace and Gromit comic strips. The first comic strip he appeared in was Scavenger Hunt, where it's Christmas Eve at West Wallaby Street, and Shaun goes into the house and accidentally gets wrapped up in the Christmas wrapping paper by Wallace's Xmas present auto wrapper. Wallace and Gromit think it's another present, so they put it under the tree, but Shaun eats the entire Christmas tree and the presents. The second comic strip he appeared in was Barking Mad, where Wallace and Gromit sends Shaun to the basement after eating everything in the dining room. But when Gromit goes to the basement to investigate, Shaun mucks up with the new and improved mind manipulation O-Matic, and Gromit and Shaun switch minds. But in the end, Wallace puts Gromit and Shaun back to their normal selves. Shaun proved to be a very popular character. Aardman soon realised Shaun's popularity when he was outselling the Wallace and Gromit merchandise. Emma Bunton, one of the Spice Girls, was photographed in a Shaun the Sheep rucksack, and since then, Shaun the Sheep soon skyrocketed in popularity. After Shaun's success starring alongside with Wallace and Gromit, Nick Park had plans on the table to think of a way to keep people employed at Aardman. Nick had an idea for Shaun to star in his very own TV series. But as Nick was very busy making Wallace and Gromit's first feature film, the idea was handed to Richard Starzak to devise the series and create the world that Shaun would live in. Richard decided that the series should have no dialogue. One of the reasons was because it was thought that it was too expensive to do lip syncing, and also he wanted to do silent comedy and slapstick comedy too. Soon, Richard Starzak alongside Alison Snowden and David Fine, soon started to develop the other characters and the world that Shaun would live in. The characters in this series are Bitzer, the farmer, Shirley, Timmy, Timmy's mother, the naughty pigs, Murrowmouth the goat, and the bull. For Shaun's voice, Aardman chose Justin Fletcher, and for Bitzer and the farmer's voice, they chose John Sparks. In the series, Shaun was thought of by everyone at Aardman as a 10-year-old boy who is always pushing the boundaries that are set for him. They say that if Shaun sees a button that says do not press, he is most likely to press it. Season 1 first premiered in 2007 and was an instant hit. The series is actually even more successful than Wallace and Gromit and has been aired in 180 countries. Shaun the Sheep has become the most successful character in Aardman's 40-year history. He has had 130 episodes, he has had his own games, his 1-minute 15 adventures on the DS, his 1-minute 21 episodes called Championships, his own arts trails, his own attractions, his own half-hour special, and most exciting of all, his very own feature film. Richard Starzak had the idea of making a Shaun the Sheep feature film around about 2010 and 2011, but he needed help to write the film, and so he teamed up with Mark Burton to write Shaun's first feature-length film. There were concerns while making the film. One of the concerns was not having any dialogue in the movie. They were worried about how they were going to tell a story in 85 minutes without any dialogue. They also knew that they had to take the characters out of their comfort zone and put them into a new world, and they had to think what was the opposite of a farm. They soon realised that the big city seemed like the best option for Shaun and his flock to explore. Once again, Justin Fletcher, John Sparks, and the rest of the voice cast from the TV series, along with Omid Jalili, the voice of the villainous Trumper, and Tim Hands, the voice of Slip the Orphan Dog, used their vocals for the feature film. For the music, they had to do a different approach to the TV series that Mark Thomas had scored. So Ilan Eshkeri scored the music. The music was performed by the London Metropolitan Orchestra and was conducted by Andy Brown. The main song in the feature film, which is called Feels Like Summer, was written by Ilan Eshkeri, Nick Hodgson, and Tim Wheeler. Tim Wheeler also sang the song in the movie. The film took 3 years to make, with a budget of $25 million, and was released on the 6th of February 2015. The movie received positive reviews. It got 99% positive reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. It also got nominated for an Oscar and BAFTA awards, but sadly lost both awards to Pixar's Inside Out. But the film did win the Toronto Film Critics Awards for Best Animated Feature. So that's a brief history about Shaun the Sheep, but now I'm going to be talking about if Shaun did deserve his own franchise. When I first watched the TV series, I mainly watched it because when I was young, I always wondered if Wallace and Gromit were going to meet Shaun. I soon fell in love with the series and always looked forward to the new episodes. In the TV series, they try and make Shaun's world separate to Wallace and Gromit's world. I am sometimes not fond that they try and make it separate to Wallace and Gromit, as I think it is important that when we watch the TV series, we must remember where Shaun came from, and that we remember him as a Wallace and Gromit character too. He did deserve his own franchise, as he is a lovable character, but we must also give credit to Wallace and Gromit, who have also helped with Shaun's success. That's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like the Facebook page. There is a link in the description. And in episode 7, I'll be talking about my favourite music scores in the Wallace and Gromit films that is composed by Julian Lott. See you all in episode 7. Bye!